Hey guys, it's Captain Forest here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over who I think wins more often than not in an equal stats situation: Kim Possible versus Robin from Teen Titans Go 2003. Of course, I'm back on the channel again, shouts to Corin, and welcome everyone. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see what these combatants bring to the table, but before I start that, please consider leaving a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. Shoutouts to HQ Squad and shoutouts to everyone else, they make awesome content, much appreciated to them. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Kim Possible and see what her gadgets bring to the table. So let's start off with Kim Possible's skill. So Kim is actually very skilled. She has some really good skill up her sleeve. She knows 16 styles of Kung Fu. She's demonstrated that she is skilled in Mantis style Kung Fu, and she's able to hold her own against Hirotaka and counters him blow for blow, which is very impressive. Kim's grandmother, who is trained in praying Mantis style Kung Fu by Shaolin monks, attacks Kim. The same Kim is able to hold her own in skill despite suppressing herself, since she did not want to hurt her own grandmother. They have also even sparred before in battle, which is pretty cool, and Kim has definitely shown some really good skill in her fights with her grandmother. Kim has also fought against Monkey Fist, who is a master at Tai Shing Pek Kwa, which is basically monkey style Kung Fu, so that's another skill feat that she has under her belt. And lastly, Kim has held her own against Yori, who is a skilled ninja, so that's pretty impressive for Kim Possible. But yeah, that's pretty much it for her skill. I'm going to go ahead and move on to her equipment. So Kim comes with a standard grappling hook. She uses it in combat for offensive means by blasting the hook at her opponent, and it causes them damage. She even used her grappling hook in certain situations to get one over her opponent, such as shooting out her hook to rip off a dinosaur's bone, which caused Monkey Fist to fall. Kim also carries a jetpack and rocket-powered roller skates. She carries a small case of lip gloss, which contains a powerful odor which incapacitates anyone who inhales it. She also carries other gadgets to get her out of tough situations, such as her wristwatch, which contains a small buzzsaw and a small laser which she can use to cut through restraints. She also carries a lipstick that fires a sticky constructive restraint. She also has this feature in her gloves which covers her opponent's whole body and seals them inside the sticky barrier. And she also has some nets in her wristwatch as well, so she can shoot out and incapacitate her opponent. Her wristwatch also has a super magnetic function. She used it to disarm her foes of their magnetic weapons. Its magnetic pull also has really good range too. Kim also has her communicator, which she can emit a strong frequency that jams and interferes with technology. It has many other basic functions, but they mainly are used for non-combat situations. Now let's move on to Kim's powerful battle suit. Her battle suit can erect a barrier to protect her from attacks. She's used a barrier to break out of ceiling. She can create a glove and grab projectiles and throw them back at her opponents. Her suit can also repair itself when it's damaged. The suit also has built-in power boots, which allows Kim to leap high in the air or fly. And lastly, the suit comes with a grappling hook, so she can use it in situations where if she's falling, she can hook onto something and fly back into the air, which is very impressive. So that's going to round up Kim Possible. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Robin and see what he brings to the table. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Robin's gadgets. So Robin comes equipped with flashbang discs, which the explosive light blinds and disorientates his opponent. Robin carries ice discs, which freezes the target in place upon contact. The ice discs are cold enough to freeze fire. Robin also carries explosive discs. He also carries a sticky disc, which covers the person with a sticky adhesive to incapacitate them. Robin also carries an electric disc to shock his opponent. Robin carries fire extinguisher discs. And lastly, Robin carries explosive magnetic discs, which magnetically stick onto you, and carries a few of them to deal with a group of enemies. Robin's discs can stick to surfaces, and he can also set a timer on them so they detonate at a certain time. Robin also carries smoke grenades with him. He can use them tactically to gain the advantage in combat, and also carries sticky bombs too. Robin is also equipped with a shockwave grenade, which creates a giant AoE and blasts a giant wave of energy to blast back his opponents. Robin is also equipped with an EMP, reminiscent to Batman. Robin also carries around his own version of Batarangs called the Birdarangs. It's been shown that Robin carries at least 6 of them, and possibly more. Robin can also throw his Birdarangs in order to cut through objects, and he can throw them in a way so they return back to him. He can also throw his Birdarangs, and he's used this to disarm his opponents. He can also use it for physical melee confrontations, so he can slice his opponents in half. There is also a unique feature to Robin's Birdarangs, as it's been demonstrated by Robin that he can combine his Birdarangs together and turn them into a sword. Robin is equipped with a Birdarang hookshot, which contains a rope which Robin uses against Plasmus to restrain him, and he can also use it to latch onto walls. It's shown that he's able to carry 2 hookshots at a time. Robin also comes equipped with a net and a bolas for takedowns. Robin carries his trusty combat staff. If one end of his staff breaks or becomes compromised, Robin can extend the other side of his staff and use that for combat. He also carries 2 staffs as a backup or to dual wield. Robin uses his staff to hold off his enemies, such as restraining Cinderblock and using his staff as a gag to keep Beast Boy from biting him. Robin can also use his staff as a projectile to throw at his opponents and have the staff return back to him. He can also intercept and deflect projectiles with his staff. Robin's cape is pretty interesting. The cape is made of a highly dense titanium, which is 10 times stronger than steel. Robin's cape is also resistant to fire, and he can also use his cape to deflect attacks. Robin is equipped with jet boots and a cape glider along with his motorcycle. So that's going to round up all of Robin's basic arsenal. I'm going to go ahead and move on to skill and resistances. Robin notes that playing video games helps him and his teammates with their combat training, reflexes, eye-hand coordination and teamwork efficiency. Robin improves his skill by training with True Master. He goes on to get a really nice skill amp as he's taught animal combat techniques. Robin also defeats Shaolin monks in hand-to-hand combat who are using Shaolin Kung Fu. Robin is able to take on multiple ninjas and clear them away with his staff. Robin is also skilled enough to parry attacks and disarm some goons by kicking the weapons out of their hands. Robin has also demonstrated amazing accuracy feats such as accurately throwing a Birdarang and disarming a Slade robot. In fact, at carnival events, they won't let Robin play any game of sock and rock because his throwing accuracy is built too different. Robin can hit an accurate bullseye from 100 feet away, so his accuracy feats are just really insane. He's also demonstrated this really sick trick shot where he was able to throw a nice disc and a Batarang in such a way that the Birdarang tags the ice disc and detonates in his opponent's face, which freezes them in place, and it makes them panic too. Robin's accuracy is really good. He's also demonstrated to throw 6 Birdarangs at all sprinklers. Robin purposely throws his explosive discs near his opponents to create a smokescreen in order to get in close, and he's able to close the distance this way, especially against ranged opponents. He's also demonstrated weapon improvisation and will turn any object he sees around him into a weapon. Robin has demonstrated great proficiency with his Birdarang sword and staff. Slade himself has complemented Robin's skill and even views Robin as a perfect apprentice. Robin can mix it up and bamboozle his foes by throwing different discs, such as a basic disc mixed with a flashbang, all at the same time to overwhelm the opponent. Robin is able to get around Private Hive's shield and use it to his advantage to wrestle and restrain him while he was sick and had chickenpox. And also, Robin is very acrobatic. It's noted that Robin and his family are one of the best acrobats. He has demonstrated a lot of acrobatic showings to evade and dodge attacks. Robin also has enhanced senses. He's able to beat up a bunch of robotic monks. Robin can use his other senses if his eyesight is compromised. And Robin is a great team leader and has demonstrated great leadership skills and tactics. Now lastly, for resistances, Robin was able to resist Mad Mod's hypnosis. Robin uses great willpower to push through the pain he was taking from having cellular probes attack his body from the insides. So that's going to round up Robin and his basic stuff and what he has to bring to the table. I'm going to go ahead and talk about his other equipment, which I will be including in this battle. I'm going to talk about Slade's equipment, and then I'll move on and talk about Red X. Now Robin with Slade's equipment is equipped with electrical explosive disc, He's also equipped with a disc containing a grappling hook. He's equipped with explosive flashbangs which blind you. And lastly, Robin is equipped with a laser cannon. Now let's move on to Red X. So it's confirmed by Robin that he created Red X and all its gadgets. He's demonstrated with his equipment that he's able to teleport. He also carries grappling hooks. He also carries a taser inside his hand glove, so he can tase his opponents upon physical contact. He also carries wrist blades. He can also shoot out an energy blast shaped like an X. He also carries explosives as well. And he also carries shurikens too. He also carries shurikens laced with explosives as well. And he can also fire energy blasts from his hands, and he can also ricochet them off objects. Red X can fire a cross which tags his foes with energy. And if his foes are to perform a projectile attack, he can invert and send the attack back. He's also used his red cross to gag his opponent. He's also equipped with an energy X that can breach through force fields. He carries a restraining cross and gooey cross traps, which is strong enough to contain all of Beast Boy's transformations, and is also strong enough to restrain Starfire. And lastly, Red X carries a cross which can create a small fissure. So that's going to round up Robin. I'm going to go ahead and go over both these combatants to see who would win, more often not in an equal stats situation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with this matchup. I'm going to do 2 rounds, so I'm going to start off with just like their basic standard gear, and in the second round I'm going to include Kim Possible's battle suit, and I'll also include Robin's other suits like his Red X and Slade attire as well. So looking at things from 2 perspectives, so if it's from a range, like a range point of view, so if this fight took like standard battle assumptions like 20 meters, so they both have some gadgets and gizmos they could use from a distance. I do think, like, in terms of like range and what gears they have, I think Robin does have like really nasty arsenal. I think especially with like the discs, especially in standard battle assumptions. Kim isn't going to know what those discs are, so she's pretty much going to be using her acrobatics. They're both going to be acrobatic. They're both going to be jumping about, dodging and evading and weaving, and just dodging each other's projectiles and dodging any type of attacks that they would throw at each other. I do think that if Robin does get off some of his gear, like his flashbangs, that could be an issue, because then Kim would be at a disadvantage and Robin could just take victory if he throws like more like dangerous objects like explosive discs or ice discs. That could be an issue. However, I think Kim Possible actually has a nasty win con, and that's her wristwatch, which is like magnetic, has like a super magnetic like charge on it. Like she can basically use it and like steal any type of objects or metallic weapons that her opponent has. And in fact, if she starts to see that Robin is like very reliant and starts to utilize a lot of his utility and starts throwing these different types of discs, and she avoids a view of them, which she'll definitely be able to, I think that if she utilizes the super magnetic pull on her wristwatch, she could use that on Robin's own like utility belt. She could literally strip him, and she will definitely use this in character. She's done it against a character in Battle 2 who was armed with a metal golf club. So I definitely see that happening if the fight was to drag on a little bit and none of those objects was to tag her. So if we go off this interpretation, this could actually be an issue for Robin. He'd have no gear. She'd actually like take away his own utility belt and probably even throw it away or use it for herself. If that does come down to this route of her stealing his utility belt, which the pull will definitely have the power to do so and has really good reach, literally able to do it from a building, that could give Kim the advantage and she could just get in. And if it comes down to skill, this is very close. They've both got some good skill under their belt. I don't think Robin comes up too short, but I personally have to lean a little bit more so with Kim Possible, especially her fight with Monkey Fist, who's literally a master using like monkey style kung fu, especially the fact that she has more variety and versatility, and she's very skilled. She knows like 16 styles of kung fu. She also has her own like type of proficiency and like almost like adept knowledge on these other types of styles. She's even able to counter other skilled combatants blow for blow just fine. She also fought against other characters too. She's no stranger to being like ganged up on. She's fought against other opponents in like 1v5 or 4 situations, so she's no stranger to fighting these other characters too. Now if it does come down to that, I think Robin is at a disadvantage, especially since Kim has her own gear to use as well. She has her other incapacitation like items too, so she could like seal him inside a sticky ball, and that could be a problem too. Now if Robin is able to use some of his other gears, if we look at things from another standpoint, if he goes and uses his Bolas and that is actually able to tag Kim Possible, I don't think that's going to be it. I think Kim also has some other utilities too. She has her buzzsaw, she has her lasers, she also has other items that she can get out of these type of situations. She literally has like gadgets built for breaking out of situations where if she was to get nabbed or restrained, that could be an issue. So I do think that she has some advantages in this fight, and also she does have her hook shot too, so she could just simply blast her hook shot to counteract some of his gear, or like some of the discs or the birdarangs even. So in my opinion, and from what I've seen, I think Kim would probably win with like mid to high diff. I think it's very close, but just going off of what the type of gear that she has, some of the like very like exotic and eccentric gear that she has, I think it'd definitely be able to work in her favor. And in fact, her Kim communicator can also help too. She has EMP as well. Now they both have EMPs, so you could also argue Robin could use his EMP on her too, but again, she'd be able to just get in. If their gears were both compromised and it came down to skill, I still lean a little bit more with Kim. But yeah, so that's going to round up round 1. I think Kim takes victory in that first round. Now round 2, and talk about Kim and her battle suit and Robin with the Slade and the Red X. Now I think Kim has a really good like wing con encounter. I think she's able to protect herself from a lot of Robin's gear, especially with her barrier. She could just put up a barrier. The barrier will protect her from a lot of Robin's assault, especially from Red X. The issue I think here for the barrier, however, I think if it came down to Red X and some of his gadgets, Red X does have a counter against the barrier. He does have like an X energy blast, so he could just like shoot an X like blast, and if that touches Kim's barrier, that's gonna like bypass it. It's gonna ignore the durability, and it's gonna pretty much remove the barrier, which could be an issue for Kim. That would leave her defenseless from that point of view. Now she does have her mitten as well, so she could absorb any of like Red X's or Slade's like energy blasts. She could throw it back at Robin, but I think Robin would just dodge it just fine. This is equal stats. Kim also has mobility with the suit too, so she could definitely hop around. But again, same thing with Red X too. He can also teleport, so he could also get the drop on Kim, which would be an issue. Kim doesn't really have anything like against that. She doesn't have any hard senses or anything, so that could be an issue. He could just get the drop on her with teleportation after pretty much bypassing her shield, and he could just take victory that way, plus his other restraints, his other nasty gear, which could also pose a problem. So I think like with some of like the other gadgets that he has in his disposal, I think that he'd be able to possibly take down Kim. However, if Kim does resort to using her other gear, like her magnetic pull, I don't think that's going to be super effective. I think that if she points that out to like Red X, he could just teleport away from the range and get behind Kim, and at that point she's pretty much going to be off guard, and I think Robin would take victory that way. He just pretty much just okie doke, one shot, GG no re. I do think that like Red X and like Slade attire, like those gears, they definitely have some more exotic and more advantageous methods to them in this fight. I think that would help Robin out a lot. There's just many ways to kind of shut down her gear, and I don't think the EMP will come into effect, because I think by the time she tries to do that, he'd already be behind her. So in my opinion, and from my own interpretation, I think if it came down to the second round, we give them all their best gear, I personally think Robin would take victory more often than not. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. It's been real. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.